Hello again, Stephen here with another quick dessert idea for your family. We're going to make a version of a dump it cake where you just dump everything in there, bake it for a little while, and ready to go. Tastes fantastic. Takes very little time. So, what I'm going to start out with on this dump it cake is some guava paste. Just cut it into slices. It's fairly gelatinous, kind of firm, so it requires a little bit of machining to get it where we want it. So what I do is I just layer that on the bottom. Now, if you don't have guava paste, you can use canned peaches. You can use jam, raspberry jam, or mixed berry jam, apricot jam, and you can even use fresh fruit. Like, say maybe you want to make it out of apples. That works really well too. So there is a layer of guava paste in my little baking dish. So we can put a little bit of this. One of the beauties of dump it cake is it's pretty forgiving. I'm using CremeCheese Belgian waffle mix, but you could use pancake mix. You can go buy a box cake, like a white cake or vanilla cake, just any cake, and use that as well. That's one reason it's so fast, is because you don't have to mix any ingredients. You just put it in there. So if you like organic, you can use an organic cake mix. If you like chocolate cake, you can even throw some coconut and chocolate chips in the bottom, or maybe a chocolate bar. You could put a chocolate bar on the bottom. So, cream cheese is almost always right when it comes to desserts. Everybody loves cream cheese. You get fantastic flavor. You don't have a bunch of dishes to clean up after you finish making another filling. And then we're going to put a little more pancake mix in here, or waffle mix, cake mix, whatever you have. If you end up using flour with some baking powder, and a little bit of salt, that's fine too. Just whatever you have is good. The ingredients in your kitchen are actually a lot more versatile than we might think. A little bit more. I don't want to fill it too full because it'll overflow the edges in the oven, so be sure to bake it either way. Even if you don't fill it too full, it's a really good idea to bake it on a cookie sheet, so that if and when it overflows, you don't have a mess to clean up in your oven. Now, just a little bit of salt on here is nice. I don't know, salt. And when I say salt, I don't mean like white processed salt. I don't like the flavor of white processed salt, and I don't feel like it for me it does not accentuate the flavors like sea salt, or my favorite is the French gray salt. I just happen to be out of that right now, so I'm using Himalayan pink salt from Costco. But just a little bit of salt on there is good. It just really brings out the flavor. We're not trying to get high blood pressure or anything. We just want a little bit for flavor. And this is the topping. Cinnamon and sugar mixed about half and half, maybe 1/3 powdered cinnamon, 2/3 sugar. And when I say sugar, I'm virtually always using turbinado or muscovado sugar. A little bit darker, not so processed, has some of the goodness from the original plant that contained the sugar from which it's taken and processed. So a little bit of sugar and cinnamon mix on there just kind of kicks it up in order of magnitude flavor-wise. And then, just to be a little more indulgent, let's put a little butter on there. Oh, right in the middle, about like that. It'll just kind of flow out. Okay, now, the final touch is to pour either milk, half and half. Canned milk is fine. Half and half is nice. It's not as thick as heavy cream, but it's still creamy. Still good. So now we're just going to pour that over the top. Now, if you're making a dumpet cake with canned fruit, of course it's already in a sweetened liquid in sugar water. So if you have the option of just using the liquid in the can of fruit, and you would just pour it in the container on the bottom, and then using less or no cream, or half and half. But if you just use the fruit, you need the liquid for the cake mix that's in there, the dry cake mix, because you don't mix it. If you were to mix it, it just becomes cake. It has a completely different and tastier texture if you just add the liquid to the dry and don't stir it and just let it be just like that, and let it cook completely separate like that. You're gonna love this. I'm working on a cutting board. Well, we'll let that soak for a moment. I'll tell you about my cutting board. My son Jonah gave this to me. He's like 24, I think, and he gave this to me. It was hewn in Italy from an old olive tree, and then finished nicely. And he found that for me and knew I would enjoy it, so he bought it for me. So I use it a lot. And then one other thing I might tell you about is, you've heard of red zinger tea or those type of teas. What they have in them is they're tea that has other ingredients too, but the base ingredient is hibiscus blossoms from the equatorial region. They're not the kind of hibiscus that grows in the United States. They're a tropical hibiscus, and they dry the blossoms and they sell it. You can get it at the Mexican grocery store, Mexican fruit stand. That's where I get it. Some of the big box superstore grocery stores also carry it. But if you take that and you get one of these in the hardware department, which is actually a sink strainer. You put it down in the bottom of your sink to strain out the particles so they don't clog your drain. So you'll want to be sure to get a new one and not one that's been returned. So get one of these, put it on your cup, and then fill that up with some hibiscus blossoms. Kind of like that. And then pour boiling hot water over them all the way to the top. Let that sit about 5 minutes. One thing I like to do is massage it a little bit while it's brewing. It helps get the flavor out a little bit. Looks like we need a little more half and half, or half and half, as my friend from Switzerland calls it, half and half. All right, so let me place that in the oven, which is now up to temperature. And I'm going to put in my all-clad baking sheet that my son and his wife gave me this last Christmas. These are really super nice because, see, they're insulated. They have some kind of layer of copper or something in the middle, so it's much harder to burn your cookies. I love that pan. In fact, I love the all-clad products. Almost all my cooking pots and pans are all-clad. They're more expensive, yeah, but to me they're really worth it. They're so good. Okay, I'm going to set this timer on 15 minutes. And then we'll check it. We'll see what it looks like. It might be more like 20 minutes, but we'll check it. And I'll show you how to check it. So, while we wait for that, we'll enjoy our cup of hibiscus tea and be right back. The cake baked for about 25 minutes. Wasn't quite done at 15, so I let it cook a little longer. Couple points. One is what I usually do, and I forgot this time, so hopefully it won't be too dry, but I like to take my knife and just kind of stir it just a bit. Not really stir it, but move it around to let the half and half get down into the dryness so it can soak in. And it should be perfect now. When it's almost done, when you think it might be done, you just take a flat knife or a toothpick or something, you can use anything, and you just stick it in, just put it right into the cake area and see what comes out. If it comes out wet and like doughy, it's not done. But you want to make sure you keep a close watch on that, because if you go, just like with any cake or any pastry, if you cook it too long, it starts to dry out. So, it's time to take this cake for a test drive. I like my hibiscus tea very strong. It's a little bit tart. I think it has a lot of vitamin C in it. Kind of has a vitamin C-ish taste. But I like it. Sugar makes it good too. But we don't really need that much sugar, I guess. So it's good. Oh, this looks good. I can just smell that cinnamon. Oh, this looks very nice. This looks so good. I kind of messed it up taking it out, but small dish. All right. So, the proof of the pudding is in the taste. So let's find out how it tastes. Smells good. Oh my goodness, that is so amazingly good. Yikes. So, make that. Make that for your family. Easy to do. Pretty minimal ingredients. Remember, you don't have to have guava paste. You can use any jam or jelly. Just put about a 1/4-inch layer in the bottom. And these little dishes like this, they're fun. And it's super yum. Make your family some fantastic desserts. They only take a few minutes, but they will praise you for the goodness of it, not knowing that you only spent a few minutes on it, but that's okay. Well, have a fantastic day. See you next time.